Hey everyone, before I begin, I just want to mention that I noticed a running trend when it comes to any reviewer or analysis people, or ponies I guess in this case, is that they have their OC on the right side of the screen. It doesn't matter what they're doing, it just, they have it on the right side of the screen. Well, I decided to rebel and go on the left side of the screen. Anyway, so, yeah, that's about it. Hey everyone, it's me Stacker, and this is a video about OC rants, or rather my rant about OC rants. Basically, there are many videos about this stuff, and mostly having to do with Alicorn OCs. I am going to up the ante and actually go with pretty much the OC ranting queen, Mad Munchkin, who pretty much ranted about the pony generator, Alicorn OCs, red and black OCs, and other stuff. But basically, yeah, I'm just going to be ranting about those three. Or rather, ranting about the rants about those three. I personally have no problems with all three of those things. But of course, you know, people have to nitpick, and I'm no exception when it comes to nitpicking. Especially if you've seen my freaking talk about videos, yeah, you can see where I nitpick. Anyway, so let's go ahead and begin. First of all, let's go ahead and start with the OC generator thingy. Now, this OC generator thingy is basically just a tool used to make an OC. Simple as that. And the rant is that people tend to, you know, abuse it or misuse it in terms of making OC. They just think, oh, okay, so I just select the head, select the body, select some hooves, a neck maybe. Nah, I don't want my OC to have a neck, and then making an alicorn, and making a beautiful unicorn, and then have like big sparkly eyes, and make it have a stripe, and then choose the color, and beam bam boom, yeah, I got an OC. Pretty much that's how it works, and people don't like it because they're saying that it's not real art. Well, yeah, anything you make is art, and anything that you make is art. What I'm making right now, this video, is art. This 16-bit freaking pony is art, even though according to Mad Munchkin, it wouldn't really be considered an OC due to the fact that it's using templates, and as you can see from the beta design of Pix, that is rightfully so. Same thing with his new design, and also my other OCs. But they're still OCs because they have the most important features to them: backstory, personality, and a name. You can think of these any way you want. You can think of the name first and personality then backstory. You can think of the backstory then personality then name. You can think of the personality then name then backstory. However you want it, as long as you have those three elements, those are the most important elements when it comes to making an OC. Unless you're using it as just an avatar, like what I originally planned for Pix. However, because I kind of developed his backstory a little bit too far in, he kind of became his own character, which then caused me to make another OC. So, yeah, that's the story about my two OCs. But regardless of that, as long as you have those three key elements, your OC is considered an OC. Unless you're using it as an avatar, then really all it needs is a name. And your backstory is pretty much your own personal backstory, but it's got to be ponyfied. Unless you're really just considering it as, forget the whole backstory thing, I'm just using this as a face, then that's fine, you know. You pretty much use your own personality, and you pretty much use your own experience to develop that personality, so that's technically a backstory. But the only thing is, you need a name, because in order to fit into Pony Society, you're going to have a name that fits into Pony Society. So therefore, there you go. As long as you have that, that should be fine. Now let's go ahead and talk about Alicorn OCs. Alicorn OCs are, again, I don't have any problem with it. Most likely, Alicorn OCs are made by little children that don't really know what they're doing. However, for those that aren't little children that don't know what they're doing, there is a simple explanation for these Alicorn OCs, is that they want to be OP. And I mean OP, like I use hacks OP. And yes, alicorns are absolutely OP. But I understand why more and more alicorns are actually starting to become popularized. Because, I mean, first we started with 2 alicorns, then Cadence came along with, then 3, then Green Chrysalis makes it 4. Yes, I'm counting Queen Chrysalis as an alicorn. Then there's, of course, the entire Changeling tribe. And then there is, of course, Twilight Sparkle. And then in the backgrounds, Rarity was an alicorn for one day, unless you include the butterfly wings as actual Pegasus wings, then that'll be 2 times. Then there is, of course, the background where you see Neon Lights. I'm pretty sure that's his name. Anyway, so yeah, you also see Neon Lights as an alicorn. Great. So we have so many alicorns roaming around in the world of Equestria. But there's my problem, though. Why is it just Equestria? That's what really irritates me about the show, and that's something that I wish the show would answer. What is so important about Equestria? Oh, it's just the setting where everything takes place. No. There's a wide, wide world out there. And yes, I do know that they say wide, wide world of Equestria, but you're forgetting that there are other places other than Equestria. Like, where the heck is Saddle Arabia? Where is the Duke and Duchess of Meritopia, I think it is. There's basically other places other than Equestria that Alicorn can take place. Everyone always says, as long as it takes in an alternate universe, it'll be okay. Oh wait, one thing I forgot to mention was that Discord was an Alicorn as well. Gosh dang, I keep missing Alicorn with OC. Imagine a world with that. Actually, I'll explain that later. Anyway, so basically, yeah, pretty much we have all these alicorns just roaming around all of a sudden, and they're starting to rage in the community as well. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but here's my thing about that. The thing about the OC, about there being, like, alicorns roaming around, I would have to say that the only way that an alicorn OC would absolutely work is if you can make the backstory work, if they're in another continent, or if they're in another place that isn't really known or really that ventured out in Equestria. Like, you can have an alicorn that lives in the Badlands, you can have an alicorn that lives in Philadelphia, you can have an alicorn pretty much anywhere. You could have an alicorn in Maintopia, or even freaking Saddle Arabia. You can have it in another universe, that's fine. You can have one in Tumblr. Tumblr is a place where all the interdimensions actually unite. And you can pretty much have an Alicorn OC. Or you can make the backstory really work, like I said earlier. Like, for an example, I used to know this girl who actually made a fanfic. It's not posted on Fanfiction, I don't believe it is. But basically, and I'm kind of glad too, because there were so many spelling errors and grammar errors. It drove me mad. It drove me to the point where I actually broke down and ripped that thing to shreds. But basically, it had an interesting story though, where basically it had this alicorn that was born, but it was at one point, I can't remember the reason for it, but they were split and they were considered twins. Oh wait, no, they're born twins, but what they don't know is that there actually used to be one pony, which was an alicorn. And basically what they don't know is that they don't know about this. And so what they do is that they live their life like normal, blah 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 blah. And then one day they realize that they're actually together, and they form an alicorn, a very powerful being. And I was like, wow, that is impressive. If only your spelling and grammar was just as impressive. So yeah, basically, you just gotta make it work. It's gotta be really interesting in order for your Alicorn OC to be awesome. Pretty much. And now let's go ahead and go to the last topic, which is black and red OCs. Oh boy, do I have a lot about to say. Do I have a lot to say about this? Basically, red and black OCs are considered evil most of the time. I'm not saying that all of them are evil, but majority of them are evil. It's like their go-to color when it comes to making a devious demon pony. When in reality, you really don't need that. You really don't. Basically, when it comes down to making an evil pony, as long as its backstory is, kind of contrives to the evilness, then there you go. You have an evil pony. And it's not really just in terms of looks, because looks can be very, very deceiving. Like, for example, let's go ahead and take into a cultural note here. In Japan, they consider purple as the color of evil. That's why in most video games, especially JRPGs, you actually see like the evildoers being in purple. Or they might have purple eyes, like in Code Geass, even though I support Lelouch's movement. But yeah, basically purple is considered the color of evil in Japan. Another good example would be the yin-yang symbol. In media, we actually confuse the true meaning of the yin-yang, where there's a good and bad. I'm even guilty of confusing it too. Where black is bad and white is good, when really, in reality, they're actually not supposed to be neither good or bad, even though they do actually represent a good and a bad side, where black is actually good and white is actually evil. But of course, media has to switch it around because we see darkness as something scary. So when we think of darkness, it's actually evil. Evil, which makes black evil. So, therefore, we see black as a bad color when it really should be white. So now let's take in perspective of how someone from... Let's go ahead and take another perspective where let's just say that it's common for a white and purple to be colors of evil. What would that look like? Oh my gosh, it's Twilight Velvet. Twilight's mom is the embodiment of evil, and then Twilight's more purple, which makes her even more evil. It makes sense, right? No, but seriously, you don't need a specific color to make things evil. When it actually makes things look evil, if you want to make something look evil, use dull colors. In fact, I can even make Pix Fox right here look evil in a matter of seconds. I'll even do it in real time. Watch it. And there you go. An evil Pix Fox in a few seconds. Give or take, I had to dialect the eyes, but still. Anyway, so yeah, evil doesn't necessarily have to be black and red. You can just use dull colors. Another good example to this is actually Dimstar from the Equinox ponies. Now, I personally did not read the Equinox because it did kind of scare me. But yeah, the Equinox is actually a good example of this, with the exception of Zaki Cakes. Ugh. But yeah, basically, it is a darkened universe, and it is a scary universe, and it's an evil universe. without using too much black and red. So you can make a pony, or really any character, evil as long as you use dull colors. It doesn't necessarily have to be black or red. It can just be any dull color you want. And boom, you got yourself an evil pony. In terms of looks. The backstory you have to really work out. In fact, I will even admit, at one point I actually did try to make a fanfic. And in this fanfic, this is supposed to be the evil door. She didn't originally start evil. She actually became evil. But the thing was that made me, I didn't really get too far in depth of the backstory for her, except it's the main character's brother. The problem was that once I started and started writing it, I let a former friend of mine look into it, and they said that it looked a lot like Inuyasha. I'm like, what the hell's an Inuyasha? Then he showed me the movie, and I was like, wow, this does represent what I was going for. So then I just immediately scrapped the idea because I thought other people were going to make these similarities to it, which made me angry. But regardless, it was kind of a nice save too, because I've seen the fanfic community and they tend to be a bit scarier than the Equinox ponies. I mean, just the reviews in general. I'm not sure if I can even handle that. But yeah, pretty much. I hope you learned something a little bit about OCs. And next time when you're judging OCs, you'll think a little bit. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and I'll be seeing you. Before I go, while I was editing this, I noticed that how misguided this seems to be. I put in my input about OCs, but the thing was, this whole point was to actually rant about the rants of OC rants. But, so here's the conclusion. It doesn't matter what your OC looks like, what race it is, or what colors you use. It doesn't matter how you make it or how it's performed. In fact, it doesn't even need to have an image. If you write it down, what it looks like and whatever, then you pretty much have an OC. As long as it has the 3 basic elements: name, personality, and backstory, it really shouldn't matter what others say about your thing, about your LC at all. It really shouldn't matter. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out, and I look forward to seeing more and more OCs come out. So, yeah, that's it.